it's Mike over at Cross Country Mortgage, and it's time for your Monday morning mortgage update for the week of January the 8th. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. We had some weather this weekend. Weather means snow. Snow means skiing, and I'm a big skier, and there's not any snow. There's not enough snow in the mountains to open up the slope, so we're getting some weather this week. Let's hope we get it. We put those skis on and do some swishing down the mountain. So I always talk about what happened last week, what's going to happen this week, try to give you tools, tips, tactics, info, data that you can use to go out and talk to your buyers and sellers and be more impactful in those conversations. So last week, we actually saw rates increase a little bit because we had some economic data that showed the economy was actually doing better than expected. Now, it was a short week. This is the first full week of economic data and trading Monday through Friday, no days off since the holidays. So what are we looking at this week? We're looking at inflation. We're looking at the Fed selling stuff and raising money, and we're looking at bank earnings. So inflation, it's the one that's always on our list of what's going to impact the market on any given week. And two big reports are coming out this week: CPI, Consumer Price Index, PPI, Producers Price Index. The CPI gives us an indication of what consumers are paying, how much they're paying for stuff, and the PPI is how much businesses, producers are paying for stuff. So CPI really carries more weight, and we've seen these inflationary numbers abating, maybe even showing some decreases month over month, and that is why we've seen these rates increase. Or get better, excuse me. The bond market increase and rates actually get better, and they've been improving since the end of October of last year, which rates were over 8%. Now we're in the low sevens, high sixes. So rates are really in a much better spot because inflation is showing signs of getting under control. Well, this week might be a little different because we're going to probably see a year over year decrease, but we could see a bigger month over month increase. And probably the main reason for that is all of the income increases are taking effect this month. The union, the auto workers union, they settled obviously on their strike last year, the end of last year, and all of those increases take effect this month. And all the ancillary businesses that are impacted by the auto industry, they get increases too. There's a lot of government income increases. The laws have been passed. Those take effect in January as well. So that increased income is inflationary, and that could cause our rates to get worse this week. The other thing is OPEC. OPEC said that sales are down. People are buying less oil. Businesses and countries are buying less oil. And so they're going to lower production. Look, this is a supply and demand issue. If there's not enough demand, supply goes down. And if there's lower demand, there's lower supply, there's lower prices, and there's lower inflation. So we'll see if that has an impact on pricing and rates this week. Second thing is the Fed selling notes and bonds. They do this every month. The Fed raises money. The U.S. Treasury raises money for the government so they can pay for everything. And then they have to pay that money back, right? They have to pay it back in a 10-year note or a 30-year bond or something along those lines. And the government has been issuing massive amounts of debt. They're selling this raising money, but it really is looked at as debt because they got to pay it back. And so the interest on this debt is like the big elephant, the 20-ton elephant in the room. And that interest that we pay on this massive amount of U.S. debt that we have is inflationary. So if there's a huge appetite for the bonds and the notes auctions that are going on this week, that could have a short-term improvement in rates. But if bond traders really look at this as a long-term problem, that could have a reverse effect and have a worsening of rates. So we'll be watching that. And then the last thing is bank earnings. So why is bank earnings going to impact rates? Well, there's two types of data that come out. The government comes out with economic data, and the private sector comes out with economic data. And they do this every month. And the government economic data basically has been painting a rosy picture, but the private economic data has been showing less of a rosy picture. And so these two, the data that's coming out has been at odds for quite some time. We've talked about this. And the data gives us knowledge about really what's happening in the economy. When Friday, a ton of bank earnings are coming out. All the big banks, the Chases and the Wells Fargo's, the B of A's, et cetera, are coming out with their bank earnings. And banks loan money. They have a snapshot of really what's happening on the economy, kind of the back end. So what these earnings, how these earnings look is going to give us a private look, a look at the private sector and how well people are taking money out. Are they taking money? Are they paying their money back? Is there defaults? Are businesses borrowing money? And so we're going to be paying a lot of attention to those that Friday and those bank earnings to see really a snapshot of what's happening in the economy. So we're starting the week floating. Thursday and Friday are big weeks. The inflationary reports come out Thursday. The bank earnings reports come out Friday. The bond auction is Wednesday. So we're floating into really Thursday and Friday. Those are going to be impactful days this week. And we're probably in a more likely position to have rates increase than decrease. So we're floating cautiously. If you know anybody that can benefit from this video, please forward it to them. If you have any clients that are concerned about their rates, concerned about pricing, we'd love to give your clients and you some advice and help you out in any way we can. If you have any comments on the data and the information I share with you, I'd love to hear your comments. So have a productive week.